In this video, we will discuss creating goal groups. I would recommend viewing the goal groups overview video before this so you have a better understanding of what you are trying to achieve when you create a goal group. The goal group component is found in the data analysis section of the program. Goal groups is an advanced mechanism that allows you to take base level goals, which are assigned to specific individuals, and transform them into logical collections representing multiple goals and or people for the purpose of reporting on things like projects, group sales, and customer service ratings. To create a goal group, start by clicking the New button on the Goal Groups page. The first thing you want to do when creating a goal group is give it a name. You can think of names like annual sales, if you want to track total sales over the course of a year by your salespeople. You can name it the name of a project that you're working on, say H2 Goals version 6.0, if you want to track a project to completion. Or we can track overall customer service rating in terms of if you're tracking something or your people are tracking something of a 1 to 5 star rating month over month. You want to see what your average rating is. You could do something like that. So for this example, I'm going to go with annual sales. So I'll give it the name annual sales. And I'm just putting in here dollars just to clarify to people that we're tracking sales dollars, not units or something of that nature. Next, you are going to want to select Report By. The two options by Report By are Employees and Goals. Employees is the default here because in most cases you want to see how individual employees are doing within the goal group. The other option being Goals here. Goals is if you are trying to track values by goal and not necessarily by employee performance, you could select Goals. But here for annual sales, I want to see below the overall dashboard view, I want to see how each employee is contributing to the greater goal or the greater dollar attainment value. Then you're going to select a drive-by value. Now, the default here is goal group, but the other option is goal. What this feature allows you to do is to determine whether the target value and end date of the goal group is going to be driven by you from this level here, from the goal group level, or whether the goals that are linked to the goal group will be what drives the target value and the end date. So basically, if I select goal group, which I will do here, I would select, say it's $1 million in sales, I would select that here, and then if I'm going to, and I'd select dollars, here, that's because I want this the goal group to go from track my sales for a year. So I'm going to say, okay, from January 1st, 2011 to the end of the year, so December 31st of the year, I'm defining at this point what the parameters are in terms of target values we're trying to hit and end date, start and end date at this level. However, if I was to select by goal, you'll see that the target value and the end date values disappear. And what that means is that what's going to drive my target value, in other words, what I'm trying to hit, so the value I'm trying to hit, and when the project ends, or when the goal group ends, will be driven by the total or the sum of the target values of all the goals that are linked to the goal group. In terms of end dates, the last or the latest end date associated with the goal that is assigned to the goal group will become the end date of the project. Where you'd want to use sort of the drive-by goal component or the feature is in project management. So if as we discussed before, I mentioned before, if you are trying to track version 6.0 of H2 Goals, that's comprised of a collection of goals, sort of like design, development, testing, and beta launch, if you will. But if you want to say the end of that is at the end of the beta with a few select clients, we'll call the project done. The target end date for the goal that is beta, the goal that is the beta launch that would become the end date of your drive-by goal value. But again, for the case of sales, we're going to define it here because I want to hit $1 million in sales, right? So that I have now created $1 million in sales. That's what I want to hit dollars. That's great. So now the goal group target is going to be $1 million in sales, and my end date is going to be December 31st. Now, target type is the next option here, and there's a definition. We see the definition pop-ups. You will get definitions, but I'll just try and explain it to you here in logical terms. Target type in this case is collective or individual. We default to collective generally, but what I would say is collective basically is that's going to take all of the attainment values recorded in goals linked to the goal group and add them together, so that because my target value is $1 million, that means that all of my salespeople are going to try and hit a collective goal of $1 million. If I select individual, my target value of $1 million is going to be per individual who is linked to the goal. But again, my collective is for $1 million in sales, therefore, and I want all my salespeople to do that, therefore it is collective. Attainment calculation. Two options here, sum and average. The sum is what we would use for annual sales in terms of it's going to take the attainment values and add them all together to come up with the total attainment for the goal group. If I was tracking something like, as I mentioned before, the customer service rating, and you go on a 1 to 5 star rating, and you were recording each customer service representative's value or their rating per month over the course of the year, you could come up with an average rating for customer service, which would take all of the ratings submitted by your customer service people and average them out. So again, for here, I'm going to select sum. Strategic goal, you can see the video that defines a strategic goal section. We won't define one here. Basically, strategic goals are just a way of categorizing or grouping goal groups into an overall dashboard view for executives, such that if I wanted to track our sales effectiveness, I could create a strategic goal that is sales effectiveness, and I would track annual sales dollars, I would track customer service rating, I would track unit sales possibly, things like that. There's something that executives can look at an overview basis. And then the goal group has a start and end date, as we discussed before, but essentially is when does the goal group start and when does the measurement period end. I can add details here and say this tracks sales dollars, services sold. So it adds a little more detail to what we're doing here, and you'll see in the goal group tracking dashboard the detailed information will be displayed. The two last options here on goal groups are allow participants to access the goal group dashboard for the goal group, which basically means that anyone linked to the goal group via their own goals will be able to see the results. Yes or no are the options here. And then the second one, allow participants to see goal attainment values of all the participants, basically determines whether each individual who has access to it, and who is also a participant, can view the results. So that basically takes care of the goal details section. The only other piece that goes along with goal groups is the share with value, and that basically is who else outside of those participating from the goal, within the goal, do you want to have access to the goal group. You could just say my managers, my employees, my coworkers, individual employees, or everyone. We'll select everyone here just to make it easy. But essentially now everyone would have access to this goal group we call it annual sales dollars, which means everyone in the organization would be able to see it. So that's basically how it works. We would save when we're done, and be able to view that. But again, look at the goal groups overview for more information about tracking and viewing goal groups. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us at customerservice@h2goals.com.